Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast. Let's get it going, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of the world. Yes, we may be a little late today here on a Wednesday evening once again. 20 minutes late from normal, but hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Welcome back on into the Sports Buffoon Studios, though. And guys, we are all wrapped up for the divisional breakdowns we had all year long. Week one is upon us and happened, and we're over it. And week two is now coming along here, I guess. So I'm just excited that we're now full-fledged in the football season. No longer talking about discussions of what if this or that. It's more about what has this or that. So, guys, welcome on in. Jason, JG, Tanner, Dawson, what's up, guys?
Nothing. I'm just happy NFL's back. College football's going. It's one of the best times of the year. MLB playoffs are starting to shape up a little bit more. There's a lot going on right now.
MLB playoffs, interesting. Real quick, Tanner, how is your brother Connor doing right now with the Brewers?
2 games out of the wild card. They were 6, I believe 5 or 6 in the division to St. Louis. So they're still playing to work to get into the playoffs yet, but there's still a chance there.
All right, let's get him. Let's go, Connor. We're rooting for you, man. All right, what's up, Jason?
It is great to be back. It's great to have the authentic sports buffoons back up in the hills, because we went through kind of a phase there where we like to talk about divisions and, a bunch of random people on the show. But now we're back to the authentic sports buffoons, which is we are going to show you guys how to make money on your bets.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to give you the inside track to what's going on with the Chiefs, and we're going to have more fun on the show. And so that's what I'm excited about.
I don't know. I already had a lot of fun during divisional breakdowns.
No, I'm sure you did.
We did have a lot of fun talking with
through.
Many different fans from many different areas of the country, and some amazing people on this channel, on the show, and we appreciate each and every one of you. I mean, we had Ryan Larison, Tanner. You know all the names. Help us break it down. I mean, we had some amazing guys.
Jude Jets
coming to play. Recently, we had Logan come on, Rob Logan.
And Lonnie Martz, of course, former
Jr.
Chiefs and Buccaneers players.
We had tons of guests on, and it was actually really awesome to connect with all of them. So super happy for anybody that was able to join with us.
And before we dig deep in here to what our reactions and overreactions are to week one, as well as the Chiefs coming up here for week 2 against the Chargers on Thursday Night Football, first and foremost, guys, what are we sipping on today?
Oh, man, I don't think I've ever done this on the show before. I've got the Buzz Balls cocktails, chalk teas. So we got a little bit of a premium vodka with orange wine and cream. This is generally my pregame drink, not during the show drink. So I tried to switch it up a little bit and drink it during the show.
Very nice. Tanner, what you got, man?
Some high quality H2O.
Some high quality H2O.
Yeah. You're still on a diet, though, right? You're trying to cut another 5 pounds or whatnot.
Prepping. I got a big weekend ahead of me doing my first pickleball tournament. So
I hear you.
Prepping up, getting ready here to hopefully take it to them.
Tanner, what do they call the guys in pickleball that sit up front towards the net? Is that a setter? Like, it's something similar to that.
There's nobody that
there's a word.
Up.
There's a word.
About?
You play really well up against the net. I don't know.
Everybody's supposed to be up in the net.
No.
Yes.
There's some guys that are better on the back end. You're better up front.
That's what she said. Yeah.
Well, you're better up in the net, up in the front.
It's pickleball either. I don't think there's actual name.
There's a word for the position, Tanner.
Target?
I don't know. I don't know what the word is, but there's a word.
I don't know.
If someone out there listening can help us with the word that I'm working with. Pickleball. Tanner, you're better up by the net. You're more of a slapper. You get up there in their face and you give them, we go whack, whack, like you're going after some flies, with the fly swatter. And I'm better on the back end where I can move side to sideline and go around that way. So
I got to give you a hot take real quick. You guys are going to hate me. Pickleball absolutely sucks. Because you know what it is? It's a combination of players who are wannabe tennis players, and they're also wannabe ping pong players, but they couldn't actually be good at either one of them. So they had to invent a new sport called pickleball so that people could actually feel better about themselves and compete. The sport actually sucks.
And now
that's just my take. You guys can agree or disagree.
No.
From a guy who's never played pickleball, I just don't know if we could get an accurate depiction of what it looks like to play. What that sport's all about.
You've never played it because it sucks.
No,
you made that decision.
No, I'm speaking on behalf of you. I've played pickleball. I'm speaking on behalf of you right now because I know you've never played pickleball.
I get it. Yeah, and you're exactly right. But I've played the other two, and I'm just telling you they're better.
All right.
Takes more precision.
Anyways,
did you know there's a term called the Golden Pickle?
Wow, the Golden Pickle. Wow.
It's when your team wins a pickleball game using its first serve, never allowing the opposing team to score a point or even serve the pickleball.
Wow. Okay.
I'll do it, man.
Hey,
you guys
amazing.
are gonna have to drag me out on that damn court.
He's gonna do it one day.
You gotta come, dude.
The problem is he won't even play ping pong. So I mean, you're gonna talk smack on pickleball, but he won't even play ping
He's
pong.
retired though. He's retired.
I've retired as a top 5 GOAT at the game of ping pong, so I have nothing to prove on that.
Speaking of GOATs, we got to see him go ahead in week 1 and get a victory once again over the Dallas Cowboys, in which they scored 0 touchdowns. That's right. The Dallas Cowboys scored 0 touchdowns after the injury of Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush coming into week 2 now, and we'll see how that unfolds. And we'll talk about them here in a little bit later, but I think it's a little bit of a strange move to do nothing in this scenario for the Cowboys, because I was speaking with my friend from LA, as a matter of fact, a big Cowboys fan though. And, he's pissed off. He wants them to go get Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe to bridge the gap for a few games, I guess, and so on. And, yeah, but it's going to be for 5 weeks?
It's the Cleveland Browns all over again.
And we're just the Cowboys have
the talk we're doing again.
Been a 500 team for the last 25 years. On average, their win percentage is literally 525. So it's not exactly the team that goes out there and tries to go far every year. And when they do, they get to the playoffs and get stomped. Anyways, we're not talking about that as an overreaction. We want to talk about overreactions of what we saw for week 1, and what our overreactions mean is we believe in this happened and this will continue to go on. It's not an overreaction of, hey, I'm really, really surprised that we got to see this guy blow up for 150 yards or, this and that. We're talking about that this happened in this week 1, and this will continue on from here on out. So my first one, I just want to talk about the fact the Bengals offensive line was still straight trash. And whenever we came into the offseason and the Bengals knew they needed to fix their offensive line after Joe Burrow was just getting sacked nonstop. And in that Tennessee Titans playoff game, I think he was sacked 8 or 9 times in that game. And they ended up obviously with the victory going in then against the Chiefs later on. But then Chiefs, of course, with their horrid pass rush last year, did nothing. But the Bengals offensive line did not get any better. We saw them against the Steelers. And yes, you're facing a great front seven. You're facing guys like TJ Watt for 95% of the game. And you're facing some guys like Bush, who's been around the league now for a few years. And also another great athletic linebacker on that team. Their front seven is really, really good. But Burrow is a statue. Mm-hmm. And that O-line sucks. It still sucks. So it's the same damn thing we saw a year ago. And I'm just looking at the situation going, okay, I walked into this and I kept Joe Burrow in my fantasy league thinking, okay, well, maybe a little better O-line and have more time in the pocket and so on. And maybe I can get more points or, passing touchdowns out of him. And now I'm like, okay, this is probably going to be the same damn thing as last year. So that's my main thing. Bengals ended up losing to the Steelers 23-20. And I was pissed off of that game, by the way. I was in Colorado at the time. And I actually missed almost the entire first quarter. And I actually missed almost the entire fourth quarter while I was in Colorado. Thank you so much, CBS, for effing up my... No, I'm just kidding. They didn't F up my evening. But I was pretty damn livid. I'll just put it that way. So I kept it in. I was in front of family and friends. So, we want to keep things light around here. But anyways, guys, JG, what is your overreaction of week 1 football?
Well, first of all, I love your overreaction because the Bengals, people are, I think, overreacting on the fact that they think that they're actually going to be a great team moving forward. And I kind of like to compare them to the Carolina Panthers of a few years back, where they actually made it to the Super Bowl. And then after that, they never did anything. And so I can actually see a path where the Bengals don't even make the playoffs this year. That's one thing that's not going to shock me is if they take a step back. But that's for, that's just, I like your take on that anyway. My overreaction is going to be with the Houston Texans. And part of it is the fact that I won a lot of bets on the Houston Texans this past weekend. Made a lot of money on them. I picked them to cover. Never in my wildest dreams did I think they could win that game or even tie with the Colts. But my overreaction would be Houston Texans, even before the season started, they are going to be a much better team, especially on offense, than people are giving them credit for. They are going into Denver. They are plus 9.5. And I was all over them last week against Indianapolis. I'll be all over them again this week. The Houston Texans are just going to be better, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Davis Mills, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's going to be that classic quarterback that he's never going to really win you a lot of games, but he's not going to lose a lot of games either. And so I just think that the Texans, for me, that's my big overreaction, is that the Texans could actually be a 500 team this year. They're not going to be dog shit like a lot of people think that they are going to be. And they're going to be pulling off a handful of upsets this year.
We do have a question for you, as a matter of fact, here on the board about Kyle Pitts. So someone who actually you have in fantasy football had kind of a rough week, obviously. We all think very highly of Kyle Pitts. I think all three of us do.
Yeah.
So his question is, should I be worried about Kyle Pitts?
Thanks for commenting, California. Fantasy? Appreciate it.
No, I mean, honestly, if I'm not an owner of Kyle Pitts, I am going all in to try to make a trade for Kyle Pitts. Okay. That's a guy that you certainly
buy
want
low.
to
Buy low.
You always have to buy low on these guys, especially with tight ends. There's not a whole lot of tight ends in the NFL, fantasy wise, that you're going to be able to depend on from week to week. Kyle Pitts is a guy that he has the potential to be their entire offense. I mean, you're not going to depend on Marcus Mariota. You're not going to depend on that receiver core each week. Kyle Pitts is the guy, and they're going to be coming from behind in a lot of games. So please don't try to overreact in terms of selling on Kyle Pitts. If you're going to overreact, you want to overreact on buying Kyle Pitts. If there's any way you can get him on your team, maybe try to make a trade for him on some guy in your league that is just panicking and that wants to sell Kyle Pitts. I'm all over that shit right now.
Yeah. I do want to make one point about the Kyle Pitts situation, is that go back and look at the quarterback situation of what Marcus Mariota did in Tennessee with Delaney Walker. And so a lot of quarterbacks in this league have a tendency to go, hey, more towards receivers, more towards tight ends. Aaron Rodgers, for instance, has gone more towards wide receivers throughout his career and sheered away from even some elite tight ends he's had in his pathways over the course of time. Guys like Alex Smith, on the other hand, ignore wide receivers and veer towards tight ends as a safety bracket. Marcus Mariota is in that same column of guys who like tight ends as a safety blanket. So having a bad week from Kyle Pitts is nothing to be worried about. Kyle Pitts will be, once again, a 1,000-yard tight end in year number 2.
Yeah, and I have zero worry because I believe this guy, I think it's the OC. I can't remember if it's the OC or the quarterback's coach, one of the two. The guy came from Las Vegas with Mariota and Edwards, and that's a guy that likes to use the tight end with Waller, as we saw as well. So yeah. I have very little worry about Pitts.
Nothing to fear at all there. Give us some time. They're facing the Rams this week, by the way. The Falcons are. So we'll see how that goes. But Kyle Pitts should be a guy that you want to hold on to. Don't trade him away. Don't get scared off, whatever. Hold on to him. Well, we appreciate the comment and the question so very, very much.
Yep, definitely. My overreaction, guys, for week 1 is the overreaction statement is the Seahawks are going to contend for a division title after the Monday night victory. That is an overreaction. Geno Smith had a great game. Looks like an NFL starter for the first time since the Jets. I'll give him props for that. Denver looked completely awful. And I can't wait to talk to Dale about that on Saturday morning. But this was a game with just more fire, more of the home team coming out into play as well, with the 12th man coming into play. And, the Seahawks ended up wanting it more for week one. They had a lot to prove, a lot to prove for the nation, because they've been talked, about for all off season as being possibly the worst team in the division or in the league next to the Bears. So they had a lot to come out and play. I don't expect this team to continue to do what they did on Monday night. I think they could possibly do this for maybe a few weeks of upsetting some people, but longevity wise, I don't see it happening.
Well, Seattle had a lot of fire too, Tanner. Let's keep in mind they played this game against the Broncos, and to be honest with you guys, the Broncos are exactly what I thought they were right up the gate. I'm not gonna lie, we all sat here around the round table and made our discussion about the Broncos, and I told you all that. Yeah, Wilson coming along is going to be great, but this whole idea that the Broncos are going to be like this change team, first of all, their defense sucks. I swear they suck.
They just lost Justin Simmons.
You made Geno Smith look like Warren Moon. And I texted my dad this a couple nights ago, and I was like, man, the guy threw his first 14 passes were complete. Yeah. Are you kidding me? What are you doing? How are you going to let Geno Smith go out there and go 14 for 15 in the first half? Like, what is going on in this world? And the Broncos did that, and they got no pressure other than Bradley Chubb did have a sack at one point in the game. But this was just a bad team in general, making penalties after penalty. Ended up with like 11 or 12 penalties for over 100 yards in this game.
Especially the first half. That's what really killed them.
Dumb mistakes. And a lot of that comes down to poor coaching. And Nate Hackett has a lot to prove. I mean, honestly, that's the way we're looking at things right now, is that Hackett has a lot to prove. Broncos are going to be a above average team. And when we talked about this in our last week's episode of AFC West Breakdown, I think we all had the Broncos somewhere around 9 wins, maybe 10 wins at the most. Is that right?
Correct.
Jason actually had the Broncos 4th in division. Is that right?
Yeah. You talk about Nathaniel Hackett, first-year head coach, Russell Wilson, first year in that offense. It's not that I think that the Broncos made a bad decision in bringing in Russell Wilson. It's not that I think that they're going to be a bad team.
It's not a bad decision
going forward, but it's going to take some time. And so everybody out there that thinks this thing is just going to happen in year one, dude, that couldn't be farther from the truth. It is not going. Nothing's going to happen in year one. You Broncos fans out there need to be patient, because yes, you made the right decision to bring in Russell Wilson, but you got to keep your expectations low in year one, because it's just not going to happen. You guys are probably going to come in last place in the AFC West.
And then, so bringing it back, my point in bringing that up was that, Tanner, you brought up the Seahawks as kind of a surprise team that could end up going to the playoffs, maybe even taking over the NFC West. And I think they ran into a buzzsaw situation where they had high energy. The fan base was out there chanting, Geno, Geno, and things like that. And they were booing Russell Wilson, letting them have it really, really hard. I loved it. I loved that. I think that's amazing. I love fan bases who let former players of their team, even though they won a Super Bowl. It might have been 9 years ago, but they still won one.
They still got it.
But they're still going to let them have it. I love that about the fan base. I think Seattle was out there loud. I think they did a great job as a fan base letting them have it. And I just don't want it to be lost in your overreaction that it was a game of absolute, we're going to come out there and thrash this guy.
Yeah.
And there was more. They did it.
There was more energy with Seattle.
Then Denver's head coach is a moron. A 64-yard field goal on the last play of the game instead of going for it in 4th and 5 when you had a minute left in the game to do something. Instead, you drain the clock, call a timeout, and then try to kick the ball like an idiot. Bad. You're just stupid.
He came out today. He goes, I guess looking back, I kind of regret doing that. And I'm like, how do you take a look at that afterwards?
And the fact was McManus had never made a field goal over 61 yards in his entire career. Yeah. And he's tried like 6 times. Never made one. So you're going to pay Russell Wilson all this money and keep him around and make him your franchise quarterback for the next 10 years, not trust him to get the 5 yards on 4th and 5 to get maybe a little bit closer for your kicker?
There's got to be some books out there somewhere that, I'm a big fan of reading books, to try to improve myself as a man. There's got to be some books out there somewhere if you go to the library about time management, whereas guys like Nathaniel Hackett and Mike McCarthy of the Dallas Cowboys can read those books and try to improve themselves as NFL head coaches and try to improve themselves in terms of clock management, because right now they're not doing shit.
Didn't Hackett know I didn't need McManus to kick a 64-yarder either? Like, I already won my fantasy game, so he could have just skipped out. and went for it.
Yeah, that's true. You did give us a text about you lost like $140 or something.
Oh yeah, that was a $142 kick that was missed.
Unbelievable.
All right. So with all that said, Tanner, now that I gave you back my rebuttal about why the Seahawks maybe just got a lucky game in here, do you still believe in them?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't. I think that's the overreaction part. Is people believe in them and they shouldn't.
They're going to get thrashed by the 49ers. Take the 49ers to cover.
Hey, as long as it's not a swapping mess, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see about that. So, speaking of the 49ers, I mean, how do you think of Trey Lance real quick? Week 1.
I'm unimpressed.
Me too.
He's got a long way to go, man.
Long ways to go right there on that one. So,
unimpressed.
I'm glad in fantasy I could have kept him for literally nothing, but I let him go to keep Joe Burrow, who had 4 turnovers. So
I ended up with him, and
I do like the fact that they're going to ride with him no matter what.
Yeah, they should.
I do also like the idea of them moving Jimmy Garoppolo to the Cowboys or another random team.
He shouldn't go anywhere.
Well, somebody's going to need a quarterback eventually, Tanner. During the course of the season, there's going to be more quarterbacks getting injured. It's not just going to be Dak in week 1. People are going to need quarterbacks. I think eventually they just need to move Jimmy Garoppolo. So that way I think that's going to give Trey Lance a little bit more breathing room to say, okay, yeah, I know I'm the guy. They trust me. And, I
don't think any of that needs to be done. They already restructured Jimmy G. They already told Trey Lance, as long as you're not Nathan Peterman.
Doesn't matter, dude. You still got Jimmy G breathing over your shoulder.
Breathing down the neck. There's no pressure.
He took
from
them
the management.
he took him to a Super
There's
Bowl.
no pressure from management, no pressure from head coach. Unless this guy comes out, performs like Nathan Peterman.
I think it's better. It's better if you get value for him and move him off the roster to one of these teams that actually needs a quarterback.
So then you would have the backup come in for Trey Lance, which is even worse, most likely.
No, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, guys. Do not bench Trey Lance. Do not break him.
Yeah, correct.
I told you guys this.
Do it.
If you go out there, you say to Trey Lance all offseason,
it's not going to happen.
You're the guy. And he goes out there and has a couple of rough games, and you're going, oh, no, Jimmy's in. If you're that young quarterback, you are broken at that point. You will mentally not be able to recover. I don't think he can. I mean, I'm saying some quarterbacks can, but
here's the thing.
Don't break him.
I told you guys this weeks ago when they were saying, oh, we're going to move Jimmy G. I said, no, you need to keep him on the roster.
Correct.
Through weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4, see which quarterbacks in the league get injured. Now, all of a sudden, you have an asset that you can trade and get some value. But I certainly would not want Jimmy G to be on that roster the entire year. They're already decided they're going to go with Trey Lance. And so I think they need to move Jimmy G at some point and get some value out of him.
All right, guys. So speaking of sports betting anyway, so obviously we had our first NFL week of Kansas allowed sports betting. Now, maybe here and there we've dabbled in some of the game before it was allowed, just like us in our childhood, dabbling here and there with some drugs and alcohol. No, just kidding. But we are now legally able to have our first drink of sports betting now in the state of Kansas. And so with that said, you guys, obviously I want to ask you guys your favorite sports bets of the week. What do you have on the table? But do you guys have anything last week that we all stood out with? Because I know we didn't get to do the JG's easy money bet of the week, which we're going to hear about here in a little bit. So let's keep that on mind. But I just want to hear, would you guys have that came out successful? Because I sucked butthole at the NCAA football games. I was awful. NFL was a different story. I did pretty well, but I was awful. And so one of you guys tell me a success story that you had over the weekend. Well, I'm sure one of us did, right?
I had a couple here, but I'm trying to get into it, and it's making me confirm my number, which is used as the camera currently. So we won't get into that, guys. But so I was, obviously we just talked about, I was one pick shy on a money line of Denver winning to win $142, which would have been my biggest of the weekend. But the college ball side, I did really well. I actually ended up having, who was it? It was Appalachian State with the win. I picked them on the money line.
Appalachian State?
Yep.
Okay, interesting. Why them? What was it? Just like a spur of the moment kind of a deal?
It's just going down, picking, just picking.
Was it one of your free bets going on, or
nope?
Was it not a free bet? This guy was throwing his money
I
around.
already used all my free.
Okay.
Sorry, that was my free bets. I was from one of the stuff I've won from free bets.
Mhm.
So this was already after profit. The rest of my free bets were to come Sunday. So still, but that Texas A&M victory was huge, and I just felt like the A&M was too overly favored. I can't remember what the line was for it, but it was, I want to say it was like in the 14 to 20 range.
Mhm.
And I just felt Appalachian State has been known to upset ranked teams early on the season.
Sure.
And there you go. With the rank, with the upset.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I told you guys all week long that Houston was going to hit big time, and I was like,
JG nailed it.
Just go in all in on Houston. Now I didn't go all in. I kind of tried to spread it out. I think Houston was my biggest win. My biggest disappointment, which I should have probably waited on, was San Francisco versus Chicago. If they wouldn't have had slip and slides all over the fucking field, that game would have turned out a little bit differently, I think. But between that and the Seattle game, those were the only two I missed on. But definitely I'm riding with Houston in week 1 and week 2. I hit on Kansas City. I hit on Minnesota. I had a great week, guys. I hit on Pittsburgh. I just wanted Pittsburgh to cover, and they won the damn game.
Right.
So, yeah, I had a really great week, and looking forward to our week 2 picks as well.
So Carlos out here says prop bet have White come in for Joe Flacco. Maybe this week or sometime this season.
Well, Joe Flacco's a bum. I
So
mean,
probably
Joe Flacco needs to go away.
Yeah.
Like he's literally wasting space on the field.
Yeah, he's in City Field right now watching us because apparently the game sucks. So the good old Mets.
It's no bueno. So thank you, Carlos. So
now, is the reason why Joe Flacco is still on that roster because he's got this aura about him as a Super Bowl winning quarterback?
I hope
Are people just
You
mesmerized?
wouldn't
Are you mesmerized by the fact that he won a Super Bowl?
Okay, no, it's confusing to me too. I understand why you make that question out there. It's one of those things where I think because he's a veteran, the word, he's a veteran.
You got to have a veteran in the quarterback
room.
Winning
He's
veteran.
been around a long time,
veteran.
so he knows how to, maybe get in there and he'll spot you a few games while your other bum quarterback is injured. No. I wish the best, obviously, for the Jets going forward. But Joe Flacco is not the answer to sit there.
It was not,
and like a lame duck and take sacks and just be a bum. He's a waste of time, waste of space. And yes, I would absolutely throw White in there as a replacement right now because why else? Why would you not?
There's more hope for it.
It's just better opportunities because Flacco's not going to get the job done. So
right.
My big bet of this past week, Kansas sports betting, like I said, is an awesome thing now. We have that availability. I made this bet. As a matter of fact, I made this bet in Colorado while I was there in Denver. And my bet I made on the Chiefs game was
the one that you sent me.
This was a very simple one, guys. This one, all that was Travis Kelce catches a touchdown, James Conner gets a touchdown, and then Jody Fortson catches a touchdown. I turned a minuscule amount of money that I bet on that into $800. That was an $800 win because I got exactly what I wanted out of that. And yes, I do have another Mike's parlay of the week coming right up as well. So I want to make that clear. So what did Carlos say? What's going on here? Is he over there texting the show right now?
He is. University of Delaware alumni. What other French hens come out of here?
French hens.
French hens football players. They have a beautiful campus. But come on, man.
Yeah, we got to move along from the Joe Flaccos of the world. I think we can send them away with the Eli Mannings, but he's much worse than what Eli Manning ever did. But anyways, before I dig into what my pick of my parlay of the week is, because I want to know JG's easy money bet of the week. We're talking sports betting. We did this last year, and JG was nailing those easy money bets of the week sometimes. But it's something to at least listen to. Give a shot out there for. Tanner, do you have one lined up for yourself?
I do. Actually, it's a college football one. I'm going to drop would be a unit for me. It's going to be Miami, Texas A&M. dropping +6 on Miami to win that game after the Texas A&M upset Appalachian State. I believe, if I saw it right, I pulled up my stats of why I did it. The Hurricanes are 5-1 in the last 6 versus the SEC. And I think the Hurricanes are coming out fire. They're 2-0 already this season. Their defense already has, I think, 3 or 4 turnovers. And I'm looking at A&M with the struggling quarterback problem. So I'm looking at Miami +6 over at A&M this weekend.
Gotcha. Now, I do have, before JG goes here, a bet I just made literally on the drive over here. Now, I don't advise for texting and driving, but this was one that needed to happen. So my deal was, and this is not my only bet. I have many, many bets for this Chiefs-Chargers game. My deal was this. Chiefs win the game on the money line. So your -4, your +4s can go away. Chiefs just win the game because I could easily see the Chargers keeping this close and just losing by a field goal from our boy Amendola, the kicker. So Chiefs win, and then I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire over 15.5 receiving yards. Seems easy enough, right? Throw some screen passes, it probably only take 3 catches for him to get 15.5. And then my last one is Mike Williams touchdown. That's it. Mike Williams touchdown, which he's done many times before against Kansas City at this point in his career. And Keenan Allen is out for this game. Mike Williams should be getting a large sum of the target share. And McDuffie's out for the game. And I see Jalen Watson, who got beat for a touchdown last game, will be in there once again for the Chiefs, playing many, many downs. Mike Williams will be matched up on Jalen Watson in this game, catch a touchdown over him, and the other 2 things will happen as well. And with that said, this bet pays off +600, which means I will be winning on my bet about $1,200.
I love it, dude. I mean, I could certainly see an easy path for that to happen. But for those of you out here who just want the easiest path of all time, for week 2, my easy money bet of the week is going to be the Bears +9.5 at Green Bay. They just beat the 49ers. A lot of you are out there probably thinking that that's a fluke. The field was trash. They were playing on slip and slides. But the Bears are going to be coming off of an all-time high in confidence off of that game. And we know the one thing that really works well in the NFL is when you play as a confident team. So Bears have a lot of confidence right now. Green Bay, on the other hand, not a lot of confidence. You heard the interview with Aaron Rodgers. So not a whole lot of confidence with those receivers. I think that Green Bay moving forward, they're going to be able to build that confidence, but this is going to be something that's going to happen over a long period of time. You got rookie receiver Romeo Doubs. He's probably going to be a great player, but Alan Lazard didn't play in the last game. So there's a lot of questions on that receiver core with Green Bay. And so while I think that Green Bay can certainly win this game, they probably will win the game. The Bears are +9.5.
They're +10 now.
Yeah, so it's already moved. So I mean, it's a divisional game. When you see these divisional games with those wide spreads like that, you kind of have to ask yourself a lot of questions. So for me, biggest question is who's got a lot of confidence and who doesn't. I think the Bears can easily cover that spread, although they'll probably lose the game. So I'm going to take the Bears at +9.5.
So you got a close game then with the Bears-Packers Sunday Night Football at Lambeau. Okay.
No, it doesn't even have to be close. I mean, Green Bay's probably going to win by a touchdown.
Okay.
That's not.
That's still close to me. I expect Green Bay to blow
I don't.
out. That's why.
When you're talking about a close game, I would define that as less than a touchdown. I think this could be a touchdown, but you said the line just moved to 10.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, give him a touchdown and give him an 8-point lead.
Yeah, I hear it. And I like it. I'd go with it. I think most of the picks this week, Jason and I agreed on. We talked about last night, as a matter of fact, and we agreed on every one of them we talked about. There might be a couple here or there we haven't talked about yet that we disagree on, but otherwise, I think we're on the same page, and I like the idea of the Bears, and I did pick this on my picks. I'm picking – if you guys don't know this about me, I'm literally picking every single betting game I can this year.
Yeah.
And last
Oh
week,
yeah, how did week 1 go?
last week, week 1, I was successful on 7 games.
Okay.
Or 7. So that means I was what, 7-9? Is that right?
I think so.
There was 16 games played. I finished 7-9. Not the best week by any means, but week 1s are wild. And I'm talking about betting line, not money line. So 7-9. We'll see how this week goes. I feel pretty good this week. And of course, I'm following along with JG's picks, so I feel even better about that aspect because I think he might even be better at the actual betting line than I am on the money line. So, which I'm great on the money line. But
and then
everyone is. I mean, everyone should.
I'll give you guys a quick bonus here. Now that we've already shit on Joe Flacco and the Jets, I'm going to take Cleveland -5.5. I mean, that's another. You can call it easy money, whatever you want. I mean, Robert Saleh. I don't know if you heard his interview. That guy acts like he's going to implode. He cannot handle the New York media, and that team's going to have some problems until they're going to have problems after Zach Wilson comes back. But they're going to have more problems even right now. And so 5.5 with that Cleveland defense, I mean, that just seems too easy for me. I think Cleveland's going to win by at least a touchdown. So
that moved to,
you got Myles Garrett coming after Joe Flacco. Are you freaking kidding me?
So that moved to 6.5 now.
I got in on the Browns as well at the 5.5. So I definitely got on that one. So Nick Chubb to me is going to have a full Chubb at the end of the day in my mind. So I can't wait to see how that unfolds. Now I am playing JG in fantasy. He doesn't want to hear that.
Got him?
I am playing. What's funny is
dude.
I have Nick Chubb and I have from the Jets. I have our Breece Hall as well. As a matter of fact, so I have both of those guys running for my team, and we'll see how things play out. But I feel pretty good about Nick Chubb going against the Jets, and we'll see how things play out.
And I have Kareem Hunt, so anything can happen.
Ooh, good point. Kareem Hunt stole a couple touchdowns from my boy, so we'll see what happens.
He's a vulture.
He is a vulture. He is a vulture. But what did I say to you guys before the season began? And we questioned this. We go, well, would you go after Nick or Kareem Hunt? And I go, I would want both. I would want Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and I would start both right away. I would love to have both on my team. And like I said, because Kareem Hunt wanted out of Cleveland. He wanted to get traded. And I was like, this is the best of both worlds because if he stays, he's still going to get touches. If he doesn't stay, he's going to be the RB1 wherever he ends up. And then Nick Chubb is then the RB1 of all of fantasy, maybe besides Jonathan Taylor. You know what I mean? At that point, it's a toss-up. So it's like, heck yeah, I would want to have both on my roster. And JG just happens to grab Kareem Hunt.
Here's one. Carlos has betting the Giants not winning this Sunday, and Saquon under 50.
See, I could get down with the Giants not winning. Saquon under 50.
That's to the Panthers defense, though.
I don't care. I know.
I don't like that.
I'd be
I'm
curious.
staying away from that fucking.
No, I'm not. I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that one. Doesn't sound fun to me.
And he's questioning your Breece Hall pick.
Well, I took him during the draft. I was very happy with my selection. We also have a keeper league, so I plan on hopefully holding on to him if he does well over the course of the next 2 years. So,
by the way, guys, you threw out your record, Mike. I was 6-2 last week on my money bets, and a lot of times when you go from week to week, you think it's important about the bets that you do make. A lot of times, it's important about the bets that you don't make, and that Giants-Panthers game would be one that I would stay away from. It's a lot of times it's like you want to stay away from the games that you're unsure of.
Carlos is being a hater, by the way. Breece Hall had like 10 targets, so let's get those receptions, baby. We got PPR underway. Let's go. All right. We're done talking about that BS. All right. So with all of that said, you guys, what?
Sorry, that was Matt's update. Go ahead.
Well, we obviously have a fantasy player of the week. We did our sports talk of the week. We did our sports betting of the week. Fantasy player of the week. Once again, this is an easy one for me. Now, obviously, it's a no-brainer in a lot of ways, but I don't know if maybe you can find some kind of league who's out of the know, maybe someone who doesn't understand big names or whatever, or just maybe only cares about the big names, maybe what I should be saying. But please, if you can, go out there and try to persuade your Amon-Ra St. Brown owner of that you can send him somebody to get him away from him, because Amon-Ra St. Brown is absolutely what we thought he was. The guy is incredible. And the guy is going to be getting catches all damn year long, especially in this offense, especially with a really crappy defense like the Lions have, because they do have a crappy defense.
Especially after TJ Hawkinson injures his dick like he does every
he
year.
always injures his dick every year. Keeps putting in the wrong holes. And so Amon-Ra St. Brown, though, is going to be your man. He had 12 targets this past week for 8 catches. It's going to be a thing where you guys don't realize right now, Amon-Ra St. Brown will probably have 120 receptions this year. If you live in a PPR world, he should absolutely be on your radar. And this is probably your last chance to convince the owner of Amon-Ra St. Brown to offload him. Now, in our league, since we have keepers, our guy kept Amon-Ra St. Brown as his keeper, which was very, very smart. And so, with that said, in most redraft leagues, you have an opportunity right now to steal that guy away. I know he just scored 20 points. Just go out there, do what you can, get him away. He will be a consistent force in your offense. And I'm not saying he's going to be Cooper Kupp. Calm down, calm your dick. I'm saying he's going to be probably by the end of this year, top 12 in all receivers in PPR fantasy. Yeah. Just go out there, make it happen, get him. He is my fantasy player of the week and the one you need for the rest of your season. Just go make it happen, find a way to get him. I know in our league it's not going to happen because he was a keeper for a reason.
I'll trade him to you, by the way. Like, you give me the right price, I'll trade him to you.
Do you want a full Chubb?
Yes, I do want a full Chubb.
A full Chubb for well, then maybe we could talk.
I'll give you Trey Lance.
I'll pass. All right. Well, I tell you what, let's stick with the same team here because I'm going with the top fantasy matchup of the week. We're trying to go with things that aren't super obvious for you guys. So my best fantasy matchup of the week, I'm going to go with Jared Goff versus the Washington Commanders. So we're sticking with the Lions here. I was really impressed by the fact that they were very competitive against the Eagles. That I feel like that's a really good Eagles defense. And so I think Jared Goff is going to do well against the Commanders this week. And, credit to the Lions offensive line for battling against that Eagles front four. I think it'll be a little bit easier matchup this week for Jared Goff. And so, just throw Jared Goff in there, dude.
Interesting, because our boy Carlos, or is that right, Carlos, has been listening?
Yep.
He just said this about Amon-Ra St. Brown. There it is. Yeah. Risky pickup. Goff is his QB. So he thinks Jared Goff's actually the wrong answer for all things. I would like to make sure he refers back to the previous years where other players have been very successful, like a Robert Woods.
I mean, it's not, when I bring up Jared Goff, it's not like you're going to start him over guys like Patrick Mahomes. I'm not trying to say you're going to start him ahead of those guys. I'm just saying, like, it's a good fantasy matchup for the week.
Well, first of all, Detroit actually has some pretty solid receivers on that team. We saw DJ Chark go out there get a touchdown, too, as well. Let's not forget about that. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be your main PPR weapon. And then, of course, as time goes on, Jameson Williams, the first-round pick from Alabama, will eventually be integrated into the offense more. Jared Goff has weapons going forward. Jared Goff has had good seasons in the past. Now, has he sucked at times? Of course. But that doesn't mean he can't mature a little bit. Some of us are late bloomers, like the Jameis Winstons of the world, or Ryan Tannehills of the world, who, Jameis is funny. I've talked about this because Jameis Winston won Rookie of the Year and then immediately shut the bed. And I feel like what's funny about him is, like, as he's now matured and gotten older, into his 30s, it's like, okay, the guy's going to figure it out. The guy's going to actually become a solid quarterback in this league. And I really, really hope he does, because I think when and if he does, he has the arm to do everything. And I feel like the same way, we saw Tannehill slowly mature. It took him time. And, we got to the Titans and boom, all of a sudden the guy was a really, really serviceable quarterback that could go win you a lot of games and take you pretty far. Not the Super Bowl quite yet, but you have to face the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes a couple times. It is what it is. With Jared Goff, he's been to the Super Bowl, got his ass kicked, but you were facing the Patriots? Is that right?
Yep.
So, I mean, I think that we shouldn't give up on Jared Goff by any means. Jared Goff still has talent. It just might be one of those other weird guys like a Winston who has a early success and then fades away and then bounces back again once you give him and bring him back some amazing receiving talent like the Lions currently have.
Well, here's the thing about Goff. I mean, he came out of the same draft with Dak Prescott. Do we really think that Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Jared Goff? I don't know that. I mean, I don't see any proof on paper.
Here's a question. Here's a question. Who's going to take you further? Because one has and one has not.
That's true.
I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. Jared Goff's taking you further than Dak Prescott ever will.
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Say that right now.
To me, they're kind of like the same guy. I mean, until one of them sort of proves themselves, and I don't know who's going to do that this year. I mean, the NFC sucks, so it could honestly be either one of them. But Jared Goff, to me, is just as good, if not better, quarterback than Dak Prescott. And I know, Cowboys fans. I mean, you guys are bloodied right now. I get it. You don't want to hear that shit, and I feel bad for you guys. But I mean, they came out of the same fucking draft. I mean, like let's let those two careers play out and see who has the better career.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, it's a very fair point to bring up. Let's not bash Jared Goff to the grave. God damn it.
Not quite yet.
Not yet. All right.
All right. Real quick, Hunter. What's up, Hunter? Thanks for joining in, dude. Good seeing you. And then Carlos says Commander sneaky OKD. So,
well, yeah, because we've talked about Commanders as well in the past. I mean, guys, it was just a year ago. We thought they would probably have one of the top defenses in the league. And then all the injuries applied.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, this isn't going to work out, and ended up terrible. You know, I think the Commanders are a fine team. Basically, I look at them the same as we've now, obviously Carson Wentz, and they've got all that. I think they're basically going to be what the Colts were last year.
Dude, they're a fine defensive team with a bridge quarterback. That's all Carson Wentz is. They got a fucking bridge quarterback. They're not going to do anything.
It's an upgrade.
I mean, but they're going to spoil somebody's dreams.
They're there.
It's an upgrade from Heineken.
To me, I look at them and I'm like, they exist,
right?
They exist.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, if he's an upgrade from Heineken, that's like
we all know
minuscule.
Carson Wentz's upgrade.
That's
from
a
Heineken.
fucking minuscule upgrade.
It's close. It's further than that, dude.
Hunter has a question, by the way, on there, Tanner. So let's see what that one was there. He has Najee this week. Gosh, you know what sucks?
He's planning on playing.
I really, really like Najee Harris.
Yes.
I think he's a really, really good player. Catches a lot of passes, proved that last year. The guy is a grinder. And what's funny about Najee, I think he's kind of an awkward personality. But I think that he is one of those guys, when I looked at the fantasy drafts lineup, and JG had the number 1 overall pick, took Jonathan Taylor, as you should. You make the smart choice there. Next in line was Christian McCaffrey, and I was like, no, why? Why would you do that? And it never made sense to me why certain people love Christian McCaffrey, and because of the injury history, because also that team is not good at all. It doesn't make sense to me about like the structure of that team, how he gets the correct type of touches he deserves in a team like that. And when I say type, it truly means something. Najee Harris would have been my RB2. Najee Harris would have been my second bet on all of fantasy behind JT this season, because he will be the man leading that damn team. And I think that, yes, it's unfortunate right now. He's got a little hindrance going on at the moment. But you're going to be okay with Najee. Not this week. I will not agree to that. I think you need to look for other options.
This week?
Najee Harris, I would not. Not this week.
Oh.
All I'm saying is,
see, for me,
as time goes here, Najee will be fine.
If Najee's playing, I'm starting Najee.
I'm not. I am not dealing with it.
No,
he will be on a snap count, guys.
You got to let him get right. Let him get right. You know, wait till he's 100%.
He will be on a snap count. Yeah, I just want to let that be known.
Carlos thinks he'll be all right.
I know, but
and
he will be all right.
Smoothies. So yeah, you know that. That's good.
Okay, well,
but
yeah, you're a risk taker. If you're going to start him in your fantasy, that's a big risk.
For me, I would start him as long as he's playing.
No, he's going to be on a snap count, Tanner.
He's going to get the ball a lot too.
On a snap count? No, you don't.
Well,
you don't.
No, a lot of chances in the offense. What I'm saying.
Maybe in week 4.
No, I don't think that injury is going to hinder it. I think
no, they are not going to run him into the ground, Tanner. The Steelers are 1-0. This is not their time to fool around all of a sudden and start. This is our main man, our MVP of the team. We're going to start now running him into the ground, giving him 20 touches, and reoccur an injury. That's not what they're going to be doing.
I'm not saying he's going to get 20 touches. I'm saying he's going to be out there for snaps.
He may only get 5 touches. He might get 7 touches.
I don't like it. At the goal line, Tanner, all the linebackers coming downhill. You're gonna trust that shit while he's getting over there getting his butt whooped?
Yeah. Hey,
know.
Hunter.
I hate it.
Hunter,
Throw him on the
who else
bench.
do you
I hate
have
throw
on
him
the
on the
running
bench.
backs? Who else do you have on running backs? Put it in the chat.
Yeah, I want to hear what else he has. What other options do you have, Hunter? Because I'm telling you right now, do not do that. Do not play Najee Harris this week. It's a mistake. Tanner, you're wild.
That's a good thought.
I don't like it.
I do
This
want to
is
know.
also why
It also depends.
I want to know who he's got on
What's
his
he-
damn
Hey,
bench.
I want to know, by the way. So you can. I was second at third in points this week.
shut up.
Yeah, right. I'm pretty sure my name's
Wait.
on the top of the division right
Tanner,
now.
it's
too.
week 1. Let's go.
Okay. Hey, I'm defending myself here. I had a good team.
He's happy. He's so happy because he got his dick wet in week
I had a
1.
Lamb with 3 points, and I had my tight end with 4. Like I'm fine. I'm fine. My fantasy guy, Darrell Henderson, guys. Start with the Falcons. They allowed 141 yards to 3 different Saints players, which was Taysom Hill in that part. I think Darrell Henderson is going to be your guy if you haven't already took that key from Thursday last week, that he is starting over Cam Akers. McVay's still unhappy with Cam Akers. I'm going. I think Darrell Henderson has a great game against the Falcons as the Rams look to rebound on this and start running the ball a lot more. So I'm going Henderson as my guy for fantasy matchup this week.
Gotcha. What I was kind of surprised about was how little Cam Akers played in that game. Henderson,
Hunter,
was fine,
put a wide receiver at flex. Don't put Najee there.
but okay. Hey, real quick for Hunter. No, Dylan was going to be his replacement. AJ Dillon.
He was putting Dylan.
Oh gosh, that's not even
As
a
your
decision.
replacement for Najee, an
That's not
injured
even
Najee Harris.
Yeah,
That's not
no.
a real decision. Not
No,
like that's
Najee.
easy.
Don't put Najee at the flex. Put a receiver at the flex.
Okay,
Bottom line is
dude.
AJ Dillon is in your
Mooney.
lineup.
All right, Mooney or Dotson.
Putting
guys.
Dillon,
Dotson.
AJ Dillon is
Dotson.
ahead of Najee
Dotson.
Harris. That's the bottom line.
I just want to say this. For that lineup, you got AJ Dillon. He's replaced Najee Harris. And then your flex, you got Dotson. Throw in Dotson. Dotson is a very, very
Yes.
mature and pro-ready receiver who the Commanders respect and want to go to right away.
They loved him
I'm
week
just gonna
one.
throw that out there right now. It makes the most sense. And when I say mature, he's also mature of age. He's like 24 years old. Jahan Dotson has great hands. You know, you remember the old song about Jason Avant? Jason Avant has great hands, you know, in Kansas City. Well, Jahan Dotson has great hands, and he's going to fit well with the Commanders and do great things. Carson Wentz already trusts him, so definitely go that route. Now, Tanner, I know you like Mooney. I get that.
I have Mooney.
I get why you
on my
like
flex.
Mooney. I get it. Mooney could have a good game. I just think Dotson's more trustworthy already.
I would start
Already.
Dotson over Mooney.
You'd even put Dotson over
Yes,
Mooney?
I would
Why?
start-
Hold on. You're a big Mooney guy, though.
I'm not
Why?
that big a Mooney guy.
But you like Mooney.
I like Mooney.
But why would you put him? So I'm only asking because I know you like Mooney.
Carson Wentz was Dotson was one of the main targets for Carson Wentz in week one. And with that 2 touchdowns performance and also all the long passes going that way over Scary Terry, I like Dotson seeing a continued streak of trusting the rookie and coming into play. He seems to be the guy getting open.
Right. Okay.
And Mooney
like
and
that. It's
Fields is still to tell. It's time to tell, really.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he had 1 point for me on fantasy on last week.
So you're taking Dotson ahead of
I'm
Mooney.
taking Dotson ahead of Mooney. I actually was going to try to trade for Dotson.
I
That's-
like Dotson over Mooney.
That's actually a coin toss though for this week.
It's
because,
not a coin toss.
dude.
Are you
dude,
kidding me right now?
I mean, they're going to be throwing the ball. Chicago's going to be throwing the ball
They
all
will.
day long. Who the fuck are they going to throw the ball to?
Everybody else they tried to throw into last week that sucked.
They're
We
going to
do-
throw it to Herbert.
We do have a couple more questions real quick. Let's throw those in there.
What's up, Texas?
We got our Texas 1X. Should I trade Cam Akers and Darren Waller for Javonte Williams and Robert Tonyan? I love Javonte Williams. I'm a big Javonte Williams fan. I think he's awesome. And this is a funny one because you have Waller, who's injured often, and Cam Akers, who's coming off injury, who only played a couple snaps. This is actually very debatable.
That's even.
but
That's an even fucking trade.
Depends on your situation at tight end. Now, are you going to be starting Robert Tonyan? Because I don't know if I would do that.
Well, I mean,
you're
Tonyan.
starting.
So
But
But
Tonyan.
you're
Robert
offloading.
Tonyan.
The most important thing is you're offloading that bum Cam Akers.
So
that's
Tonyan.
important.
So guys, Tonyan led the team or tied the team in targets last week, and passing targets for Aaron Rodgers. which was next to
Right.
AJ.
And
Dillon.
hey, I just want to say it was 2 years ago. Tunyon had 10 touchdowns for the team,
He's back early.
and he's back right now.
Shit.
Also, the receivers are garbage,
Dude.
for the most part. This actually might be a good
I'm
deal.
doing that fucking deal all
yeah.
day long.
And
dude.
Darren Waller.
Send off
Because-
a oft-injured Darren Waller
The other-
and Cam Akers
yes, but
for Javonte, who to me is a actually top 12 running back, at least
Yeah.
top 12.
But the other thing about Darren Waller is not only is he oft injured, Devontae Adams is Derek Carr's boy.
Yeah.
Man. I think those
You
guys
saw it.
I think they sleep together, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
Waller's not going to give him as many targets. So even if he's healthy, like Devontae Adams is the man. So I love that trade. I would totally do that trade for Javonte Williams and Robert Tonyan.
Yeah, and McDaniels over there in or
But
whatever.
the most
In
important
Oakland
thing is
doesn't
like,
go
To
to the
me,
tight
it
ends
is
either.
you're solidifying your running back situation with Javonte Williams because Javonte is going to be a force all year long in fantasy. I actually love him as a fantasy
I'd do
guy,
it.
so
If somebody's
Yeah.
willing
big
to do
fan.
it, I'd do it.
Big fan.
like I said earlier, the big thing is that you're offloading Cam Akers, and Cam Akers could be fine a little bit later in the season, but
Yeah.
he did not look right in training camp, and so they're going to probably try to ease him in there, and so he's not going to look right for the first few weeks. Of the
Well,
season.
let's ask yourself this: who gets more fantasy points by the end of the year? Is that going to be Javonte Williams or Darren Waller?
Javonte.
I'm going to go Javonte and then Robert Tonyan over Cam Akers. Maybe.
Yeah,
It's going to be kind of
sure.
a coin flip. So
yeah.
to me, I'm going to take the running back, the stronger running back in this situation is my happy
Yeah.
place.
You could go either way, but I'd probably go ahead and do
That's
the
a really
deal.
good question,
I would
Texas.
do it.
Hey,
I would do it.
I appreciate that question. What else? He has a couple more.
Yeah,
All
so Texas says he should start Dotson or Elijah Moore or Devontae Smith.
Gosh, Devontae pissed me off last
yeah,
week.
me
I have
too.
in my team
I got
2 targets for 0.
two teams
Zero.
with 0 points in the
Yeah.
starting. My 2 losses
Um,
I had last week.
Now,
I'd say Dotson. But
Yeah,
Elijah Moore's
I-
there though too. That's my issue.
I only want to say that Devontae had a really good year last year for a rookie, and obviously it's still the same quarterback situation. But something went wrong last week.
Yeah.
Something went wrong in a shootout against the Detroit Lions. Somehow Smith catches 0 passes. How are you going to go out there, score 35 points, and not a single goddamn pass goes to Devontae Williams, who is supposedly your WR2?
Yeah.
You know how stupid that sounds out loud?
So Ryan Larson on Monday night with Buffoon and Bodkins came out and we were talking I brought up that point with Devontae Smith of what the hell happened, right? And he's like, hey, Jalen Hurts said he went out to Devontae, said your time's coming. So obviously it was a very fluke deal. I think we saw week one. Week one, we all overreact anyways. So I'm not too worried about him not scoring points from now on, but I would still probably go this Dotson route.
I
I'm
tell
not
you what,
gonna
guys.
overreact.
I got to
but-
disagree. I've got to go Elijah Moore between those 3 because they are going to get shit canned by the Browns. And they're just, the Jets are going to have to
You're going to
fucking
trust
throw.
Joe Flacco or Mike White?
I don't give a shit which one. They're going to be force feeding Elijah Moore. That's the only way they have a
that's what
chance
they
to
did
fucking
last
come
week.
back.
They have other guys on that offense. I just want to make that clear. The running back situation. You got Michael Carter. You got Breece Hall. You also got the receivers outside as well, other than Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is not their main man.
Elijah Moore
necessarily.
had
That's
7
fine.
targets, right? Caught 5 of the 7 targets, 49 yards, and we lost last
So
week.
you got Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis.
Garrett Wilson did nothing.
They're not doing
I
shit.
know,
Nothing.
but that doesn't mean he won't do anything as
That doesn't mean
I don't-
Devontae Smith won't do
Here's the
nothing.
thing.
I'm just saying,
The
dude.
question is Dotsa, Moore, or Smith.
I'm going to put my money on Elijah Moore.
I'm
That's
going
where I'm
Dotson.
going.
I'm going to say don't give up on Devontae.
So we did 3 different? You want to go 3 different fucking answers?
All I'm saying is don't
All
give
right.
up on Devontae
Shit.
Smith.
All right,
But I
what
would
are we
not
picking?
go Elijah Moore. I would go more towards Dotson as a safer route because Jahan Dotson over time will be a safe, reliable option for that team. That's
Yeah.
why I
Shit.
like him.
All right.
I'm with it. And it's a 14-man PPR. Oh man, I bet you those are deep.
14 mans. I've done those. I've done that a couple times. Yep, those are
McDaniel's
interesting.
offense handicaps Waller. Yep, Waller's no Gronk or Hernandez. Yeah, he's gonna be blocking more in that offense. So, man,
all right. Well, guys, we're running out of time here, which means we're gonna be talking some Chiefs, right, Tanner?
yeah, we got our Chief show dropping here for week 2, right?
Week 2,
Friday tonight, actually.
which we're gonna do here in just a few moments, but it'll be coming out either tonight or tomorrow morning, right, Tanner?
correct.
we're doing?
probably tonight.
Okay.
So, by the way, guys. We lost our first round. I don't know if you guys saw. So we are over. 133. Oh, wait, no. Oh, sorry. We're projected to win this week. So what's our lineup, guys? Or what do we like here? We got to set our players real quick. We got Tua, Taylor, Hunt, of course, is in. Lamb, Evans, Albert, Moore, Bateman, Koo, Green Bay.
Hey,
I hate this team, and I can't believe we did this.
Should we go?
He had me convinced this was a fake league that we were doing.
I did not convince you guys.
You made me. I thought it was
you
a mock.
guys thought that yourselves when
we were
I
doing
said
a mock.
this is a sports with film community draft, and you guys thought it was a mock.
We were supposed to be doing a mock draft, and you did a real draft, and we were pissed.
Well, that's your fault.
Let me see the team. Have you added anybody?
I have not done anything, dude.
So I was legit.
There's free agents. There's waivers.
This is a buffoons deal.
I was legit picking shitty players on purpose because this happened before our real draft. So I didn't want to tip my hand to let you guys know which players I really liked. We drafted this team before our actual draft. So I was legit drafting shitty ass players like Cam Akers.
Next time,
as this guy did over here with James Robinson.
I like James Robinson played really well. 22 points last week.
Oh well, yeah.
And where's Cam Akers sitting on the freaking bench?
Yeah, both of them suck ass.
I don't know. I like James Robinson, but
whatever.
I don't know.
What's the team look like? Who's on the bench, Tanner? We need to look at. We need to look at waivers.
Our bench is Akers because Jason and I voted that out last week.
How are three guys supposed to sit at a table once a week and decide how to adjust a team?
How about you figure it out?
Because you run the league. You run the team.
Tell me.
I don't know what to do. I don't know who's available. I don't have access to this app.
Players.
I think it looks good. Just bench.
Should we do Wentz? Guys, not playing.
No, bench Cam Akers for somebody because Cam Akers
is already on our bench.
Sucks.
You wanted to start him last week, and Jason.
Because I don't know what's going on with this damn league,
dude. It's not that hard. Start your best players.
He's not a best player. What are the running backs that we have? What do we have on our roster?
On our roster,
what do we have?
James Robinson, Kenneth Gainwell, and Cam Akers is on the bench. Robinson's on the IR.
Who are our starters, Tanner? Just tell me the
starters is Taylor and Hunt.
Okay, leave them alone.
Yeah, I know. We're fine.
Who else do we have? Receiver.
I'm worried about the flex.
Who's the flex?
Flex right now is Moore and Bateman. I like Bateman.
Elijah Moore.
I don't like
Bateman.
Moore
Needs to be left alone. Leave Bateman.
But I don't like anybody else here. So,
all right, are we good?
And you're telling me you didn't do any due diligence to look into the waivers of this league?
No, I was working on my other leagues.
And now we're supposed to sit here like three buffoons and know what to do with this damn roster.
Sports buffoon. I don't think we need to make any moves.
This is a crappy ass roster, Tanner.
All right. You know what? I think we're set.
You want to make a trade?
I think we're all set. So fuck this. Mike, what's coming up on the Chiefs show?
Coming up on the Chiefs show, you guys. I'm going to break it all down for you. We'll be all different. It's going to be a different kind of atmosphere on that. Can't wait. Week 2 preview, Chiefs Chargers will be coming up here in just a few minutes. So
yeah, we should win
we'll be digging deep into that. So I'm looking forward to that. Tanner, let's just keep the roster you have there.
I think
alone.
we're good.
And I would like for some of you listening right now to join in for the Chiefs show, of course. So it'll be posted up. Maybe we do a live one, Tanner. We do a live one. How about that?
No problem, Texas. And this argument is better than your drink order fights.
Dude, if the camera wasn't rolling, the things would be saying to each other are off the hizzle.
We try to keep it clean. We do
try to get it clean for you
guys
guys.
on this show.
So Texas says he has Trey Lance, Nick Chubb, Javonte Williams, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You got Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Chubb, Javonte, Tunyon, Dotson, Elijah Moore.
All right.
That's pretty good, dude.
All right, guys, let's break it down for the Chiefs show. So I just want to say this was great. I was glad to get back to a buffoon show. Now, we did get to skip over our buffoon topic today, but, that's always going to be there for next time. So, with that said, I'll see y'all on the next one.
Buffoons, we're out.
See you guys.